There is one number that keeps showing up in tiny cabin plans, builder forums, and Pinterest boards over and over again. Not 200 square feet, not 500, 120. And once I found out why, I couldn't unsee it. Because it's not really about the cabin at all. It's about a number buried inside your local building code that most homeowners have never even heard of. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why that one number, 120 square feet, has become the magic sweet spot builders, architects, and off-grid dreamers design around in 2026, and why getting it wrong by even a few feet can turn your simple weekend cabin into a full permitting nightmare. Before we get into it, if you're into small space design, off-grid builds, or just enjoy watching me nerd out over building codes so you don't have to, hit subscribe now. I break down real numbers on these builds every week, and this one has a twist at the end that genuinely surprised me. Let's get into it. The number nobody talks about. Here's the thing about building a small structure on your property. Most people assume that if it's small enough, you can just build it. No permits, no inspections, no headaches. That assumption is half right. Here's the real 2026 picture. The International Residential Code, which most US states base their local codes on, includes an exemption for small, detached accessory structures, things like sheds, storage buildings, and playhouses, under 200 square feet. But here's what almost nobody realizes. Cities are allowed to set that threshold lower, and a lot of them do. Houston exempts detached structures under 120 square feet. Fort Worth exempts accessory structures under 120 square feet, as long as they're single-story with no electrical or plumbing. Other cities land at 100 square feet. Some go all the way up to 200 or even 300. The point is, 120 square feet sits right in that safe zone across an enormous number of jurisdictions, low enough to clear the strictest common local thresholds, while still being just big enough to build something real. That's not a coincidence. That's design strategy. Why 120 square feet actually works as a livable layout. Now, 120 square feet doesn't sound like much. That's roughly a 10 by 12 foot footprint, or a 12 by 10, depending on how you orient it. But here's why builders keep coming back to this exact size instead of going smaller or bigger. Go much smaller and you're basically building a glorified shed, not a usable retreat. You lose the ability to fit a real sleeping area, a small kitchenette, an actual walking space without everything feeling like a closet. Go bigger. Past that 120 to 200 square foot range, and in a huge number of cities you cross straight into full permit territory. That means engineered plans, inspections, impact fees, and timelines that can stretch for months. For a simple rustic getaway, that's an enormous amount of friction for not that much more square footage. So 120 square feet becomes this sweet spot. Builders typically split it one of two ways. Either a single open room with a sleeping nook and a small kitchen counter along one wall, or, more popularly in 2026 designs, a compact main floor with a sleeping loft built above it. That loft is the real trick. Since many jurisdictions calculate square footage based on the main floor footprint, not loft space, you can often add meaningful extra square footage of usable space overhead without changing your permit math at all. The material and cost logic. Let's talk real 2026 numbers, because this is where the design choice really pays off. At 120 square feet, you're working with a footprint that plays extremely well with standard lumber dimensions. Framing lumber commonly comes in 8, 10, 12, and 16-foot lengths. A 10 by 12 layout lets you frame walls with minimal cutting and minimal waste, which matters a lot right now, because lumber prices are still elevated in 2026 due to ongoing tariffs on softwood. On cost, a simple 120 square foot rustic cabin, built primarily with your own labor, using basic stick framing, a metal roof, and simple finishes, typically lands somewhere between $8,000 and $18,000, depending on your region, your foundation type, and how much you're doing yourself versus paying someone else to do. Kits and prefab options can push that number higher, sometimes into the $20,000 to $30,000 range, but they save you significant time and labor. Compare that to a 400 or 500 square foot cabin, which routinely runs into the $50,000 to $80,000 range once you factor in a full permit process. And you start to see why 120 square feet has become such a popular entry point. It's not just cheaper because it's smaller. It's cheaper because it often sidesteps the most expensive part of any build, the bureaucracy, the catch that catches everyone. Okay, here's the part I promised you at the start, the part that trips people up. Permit exempt does not mean rule exempt. This is the single most misunderstood part of small structure building, and it costs people real money every year. Even if your 120 square foot cabin is exempt from a building permit, it almost always still has to follow zoning setbacks, meaning how close it can legally sit to your property line. It still has to follow height limits. And here's the big one. The moment you add electrical wiring or plumbing, even to a tiny 120 square foot structure, most cities require a separate electrical or plumbing permit, regardless of the building's size. The size exemption covers the structure itself. It does not cover the systems inside it. There's also a financing wrinkle worth knowing. Even a fully legal, permit-exempt structure can complicate things if you ever sell the property, because appraisers often can't count unpermitted square footage toward your home's value, and some lenders ask questions about any structure on the lot, exempt or not. So the real lesson here isn't build small and skip the rules. It's build small and still know exactly which rules still apply. That's the difference between a smooth weekend project and a stop work order taped to your front door. Why this matters beyond just cabins. Here's why architects and small structure designers are genuinely obsessed with this number, beyond just rustic cabins. That 120 square foot threshold has quietly become one of the most flexible design tools in small-scale building right now. Backyard studios, guest houses, home offices, art sheds, off-grid retreats, pool houses, micro-rental units in states experimenting with looser accessory dwelling rules. All of them get designed around this same magic number because it represents the largest structure you can typically build with the least regulatory friction in the widest number of places. It's the same reason tiny house designers obsess over trailer width limits, or why shipping container builders obsess over standard container dimensions. When a number unlocks flexibility across dozens of different local rulebooks at once, smart designers build their entire approach around it. So, why are architects and builders obsessed with the 120 square foot rustic cabin layout? Because it sits in the sweet spot between big enough to actually live in and small enough to avoid the most expensive parts of the permitting process, in more cities than almost any other size. But remember, that number isn't a universal free pass. It shifts depending on where you live, and the moment you add wiring or plumbing, different rules kick in no matter the size. In the next video, I'm actually going to walk through a real 120 square foot build from foundation to finished loft, including the exact moment we almost got the setback distance wrong and what it would have cost us if we hadn't caught it in time. You really don't want to miss that one. If this helped you understand your own local rules a little better, hit subscribe and drop a comment telling me what you'd build first in 120 square feet. I'll see you in the next one.